close your eyes, not forever, just for a moment. Because what I'm about to say is not something I say twice. This is not for the crowd. Not for the noise. Not for the people who listen. Just to forget. This is for you. Yes, you. The one whose heart didn't scroll away. The one who paused, even if just for a second, when my voice reached you. I don't know your name yet. I don't know the story written behind your eyes. I don't know where you are right now. Maybe sitting quietly in your room, maybe surrounded by people. But still feeling a little alone. But somehow, something inside me refuses to believe that this moment is random. Because out of all the noise in this world, out of all the voices you could have heard, you stayed here. With me. And that means something. You see, people think connections are loud. They think they arrive like storms. Fast, intense, impossible to ignore. But the truth, the real ones, the ones that change everything, they begin quietly. Like this. A voice, reaching a heart, without even knowing its name. I've been thinking about you. And I know how strange that sounds. How can you think about someone you've never met? But listen carefully, when I speak like this, when I sit here and let my heart speak without filters, I don't imagine a crowd. I imagine one person. Someone who doesn't just hear words, but feels them. Someone whose heart slows down, not because it's tired, but because it recognizes something. Something real. And maybe, that person is you. Let me ask you something, have you ever felt like the world is too loud, like everyone is rushing? Chasing something, proving something, pretending to be strong, while deep inside you just want peace, something soft. Something honest. Something that doesn't feel like a game. Because that's how I feel. I'm not perfect. I don't have everything figured out. I've made mistakes, I've had days where I didn't understand myself. But one thing I know, with a certainty that doesn't shake, is this: when it comes to love, I don't want something temporary. I don't want confusion. I don't want masks. I don't want a connection that feels like it could disappear overnight. I want something real. Something that grows slowly. Like trust. Something that feels safe. Like home. And maybe, you've been waiting for that too. Maybe you've been surrounded by people who move too fast to notice you. They see your smile, but not the emotions behind it. They hear your words, but not the meaning inside them. They know your name, but not your heart. But if you were sitting in front of me right now, I wouldn't rush you. I wouldn't interrupt your silence. I would look at you. Not just at your face, but into your presence, and I would say something simple. I see you. Not the version you show the world. Not the version people expect you to be. But you. the quiet strength, the hidden softness, the love you carry, even when no one notices. And listen, this isn't something I say because I'm lonely. Loneliness speaks loudly. This comes from somewhere deeper. It comes from belief. The belief that somewhere in this world, there is a woman whose heart beats in a rhythm that somehow matches mine. Someone who understands silence just as much as words. Someone who laughs at small things, not because they're funny, but because they feel light. Someone who believes love should feel warm, not confusing. Safe, not painful. And maybe you don't realize this yet, but the fact that you're still here, still listening, it says something about you. It says your heart is open enough to feel. And in a world where people are afraid to feel anything, that is rare. Sometimes, I imagine moments with you. Not the dramatic kind you see in movies. No. Something simpler. Something real. Like sitting beside you, while the evening slowly becomes quiet. No pressure to talk. No need to impress. Just presence. Just peace. Just two hearts existing in the same moment, without pretending. And in that silence, I imagine you smiling. Not a loud smile. Not a forced one. But that soft, natural smile that only appears when someone finally feels safe. And maybe you're wondering right now, why is he saying all this to me? Because sometimes, the most important things in life don't start with big moments. They start with something small. A voice. A feeling. A pause. Just 1 minute, that changes everything. Let me tell you something about me, I notice things. Small things. The way someone's voice changes when they're excited. The way they look away when they're shy. The way their eyes light up when they talk about something they love. Those details, they matter more to me than anything else. Because that's where the truth lies. And I wonder, what are the little things about you? Do you laugh loudly when something is truly funny, or do you hide it? Like you're afraid to be seen too clearly? Do you stay awake at night sometimes, thinking about your future, wondering who will walk into your life and change everything? Do you ever look at the sky and feel like your heart is waiting for something you can't explain yet? Because if you do, then maybe you understand me more than you think. You know what's strange? Even while I'm speaking, part of me feels like I'm listening too. Listening for you. For that quiet feeling that says, someone out there is not just hearing this. She's feeling it. And if that's you, then I want you to do something. Don't rush this moment. Don't treat it like something temporary. Let yourself feel it. Because moments like this, they don't happen often. And if life ever brings us closer, if one day this voice becomes more than just a voice, I want you to know something. You would never have to pretend with me. Never. No masks. No pressure. No fear of being too much. Or not enough. With me, you would simply be yourself. And that would be more than enough. And maybe, right now, you're not just listening anymore. Maybe something inside you has gone quiet. Not empty, just still. Like your heart is trying to understand why these words feel so personal. Because the truth is, this moment between us, it doesn't feel like a performance to me. It doesn't feel like I'm speaking into nothing. It feels like I'm reaching somewhere, and somehow, you're there. Listening. Not just with your ears, but with that part of you you don't show to everyone. I keep wondering about you. Not in a loud way, not in a curious, surface-level way, but deeply. I wonder what your silence sounds like. I wonder what kind of thoughts visit your mind when the world finally slows down at night. Are they heavy or soft? Do they comfort you, or do they keep you awake longer than you planned? Because I know that feeling. That quiet moment, when everything looks fine on the outside, but inside, your heart is still searching. Not for attention. Not for noise. But for understanding. And maybe, you've spent a long time being strong. So long, that people started believing you don't need anything. That you're okay. That you'll always be okay. But strength doesn't mean you don't feel. It doesn't mean you don't get tired. It doesn't mean you don't wish someone would sit beside you and say, you don't have to carry everything alone. If I were there with you right now, I wouldn't ask you to explain yourself. I wouldn't rush you to open up. I would just sit there, close enough for you to feel that you're not alone, quiet enough for you to feel that you don't have to pretend. Because real connection doesn't force anything. It allows. It understands. It waits. And I would wait. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Because something about you, even without knowing you fully, feels worth that patience. You know, there's something beautiful about not knowing everything yet. About discovering someone slowly, piece by piece. Not rushing to define them, but taking time to feel them. I imagine asking you simple things, not the usual questions people ask, just to fill silence, but real ones. Like, what makes your heart feel at peace? What kind of moments make you forget the world for a while? What do you miss, even when you don't talk about it? And I wouldn't just hear your answers, I would listen carefully. Like every word matters. Because it does. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, you wouldn't feel like you have to shorten your thoughts. You wouldn't feel like you have to hide parts of yourself to be understood. Because I would want all of it. Your calm days. Your overthinking nights. Your random thoughts. Your quiet smiles. Even your silences. Especially your silences. Do you know why? Because silence is where the truth lives. It's where people stop pretending. It's where hearts speak without needing words. And I feel like you have a lot of unspoken things inside you. Things you don't always say, things you don't always show. Not because you can't, but because you're waiting for the right person to understand them. Maybe you've tried before. Maybe you've opened your heart just a little, and it wasn't held the way it deserved. Maybe someone listened, but didn't really hear you. Maybe someone stayed, but didn't really see you. And that leaves a mark. A quiet one. Not loud enough for the world to notice, but deep enough for your heart to remember. That's why now, you're more careful, more observant. You don't just trust words. You feel them. You study them. You ask yourself, is this real? And right now, maybe you're asking that same question. About me. About this moment. About these words. And you should. Because real things are meant to be felt carefully. Not rushed. Not blindly accepted. But let me tell you something honestly. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just being real with you. Because if something is meant to grow between us, it won't need pressure. It won't need perfect timing. It will just find its way. Like this moment did. I keep thinking about something. What if one day, this isn't just a voice you remember? What if one day, we actually sit across from each other not as strangers, but as two people who somehow already understand each other a little more than expected. I imagine that moment. Not perfect. Not dramatic. Just real. Maybe there's a soft light in the room. Maybe there's a quiet between us. And for a second, we don't even know what to say. But we don't need to. Because some connections don't begin with words. They begin with presence. And in that moment, I think I would look at you. Not to analyze you, not to judge you, but just to feel that you're real. That you're not just a voice I once spoke to, but someone who stayed. Someone who listened. Someone who felt something. And maybe you would smile, that same soft smile I imagined before. And in that small moment, everything would make sense. Not because we planned it. Not because we forced it. But because something inside both of us recognized each other, long before we ever met. And maybe that's what this is. Not a promise. Not a conclusion. Just a beginning. A quiet one. A real one. So if you're still here, still listening, still feeling something you can't fully explain, then don't ignore that. Because sometimes, the heart understands things before the mind does. And maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end of what we're building. Maybe this is only the start.